At the end of 2025, the USS Gerald R. Ford, the U.S. Navy's newest and most advanced aircraft carrier, made a sudden and highly publicized appearance near Venezuelan waters. This $17 billion vessel, regarded as a symbol of American military might, is capable of projecting immense force anywhere in the world. However, its recent deployment to the Caribbean in close proximity to Venezuela has raised eyebrows and triggered a wave of speculation. Why would the U.S. Navy deploy such a powerful asset to a region already filled with tensions, especially when it is not directly involved in a major conflict? The presence of the Gerald R. Ford has prompted many to ask, is the United States preparing for something bigger? The USS Gerald R. Ford is a marvel of modern engineering. As the first of a new class of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, it was designed to carry the latest technologies, including an electromagnetic aircraft launch system, EMALS, and advanced arresting gear. These innovations were supposed to make the ship more efficient, reliable, and capable of launching aircraft at a faster rate than previous models. However, this deployment to Venezuela's waters was not simply about showing off new technology that combined military power protection with a geopolitical message. Officially, the Pentagon has stated that the deployment of the Gerald R. Ford is part of a broader effort to combat drug trafficking in the region. Operation Southern Spear, the U.S. military campaign aimed at targeting narcotics and terror groups, is often cited as the reason for the ship's presence in the Caribbean. According to U.S. officials, the operation's goal is to enhance surveillance capabilities and disrupt drug smuggling routes that run through Venezuela and the surrounding region. While this explanation might seem plausible at first glance, the scale of the operation, bringing one of the most powerful aircraft carriers in the world, along with a vast accompanying fleet, is far greater than what would be required for just counter-narcotics missions. The Gerald R. Ford is more than just a ship capable of patrolling coastlines and tracking drug routes. It is a complete combat vessel, capable of projecting force far beyond the reach of any other vessel in the region. With the ability to launch and recover advanced fighter jets up to F-35, the Ford can provide air superiority, intelligence gathering, ship's radar systems, advanced and onboard air enable it to detect and engage threats at ranges that most other air forces cannot match. If the U.S. was truly focused on counter-narcotics operations, the deployment of such an advanced and heavily armed ship seems disproportionate to its estimation. The larger, more concerning question is whether the U.S. Navy's presence in Venezuela is part of a bigger, more secure plan. Venezuela, under the leadership of President has long been a contentious issue for the United States. The U.S. government has labeled Maduro's regime as a threat to democracy, human rights, and regional stability, and it has imposed various sanctions in an effort to destabilize his government. While the official narrative focuses on counter-narcotics operations, the underlying reality is that the U.S. has been increasing military pressure on Venezuela for years. The deployment of the Gerald R. Ford is a clear demonstration of that pressure, signaling to Maduro that the U.S. is willing to act militarily if necessary. Venezuela, meanwhile, views the U.S. military presence as a direct threat to its sovereignty. The country has long been wary of American interventionism, and Maduro has used the military buildup as an opportunity to rally his supporters and accuse the U.S. of imperial aggression. The Venezuelan government has responded by mobilizing its own forces, conducting military drills, and preparing for potential confrontation. For Venezuela, the deployment of the Gerald R. Ford represents more than just a demonstration of military power. It is a reminder that the U.S. is capable of exerting influence and conducting operations in its backyard. The strategic importance of Venezuela cannot be overstated. Located in the heart of South America, Venezuela is home to some of the largest oil reserves in the world. Control over the country's oil resources has long been a point of contention between the U.S. and Venezuela, especially as oil plays a crucial role in the global economy. A stable and friendly government in Venezuela would give the U.S. greater leverage over energy markets in the region, while a government hostile to U.S. interests presents a significant geopolitical challenge. For the U.S., Venezuela represents both an opportunity and a threat, and its proximity to American allies in the Caribbean and Latin America only heightens its strategic importance. The presence of the USS Gerald R. Ford in the region is also a reminder of the broader geopolitical struggle between the U.S. and other global powers. Russia and China, both of which have interests in Latin America, have been working to expand their influence in the region. The U.S. has been increasingly concerned with Russia's growing ties to Venezuela, particularly in the form of military support and arms sales. In response, the U.S. has made it clear that it will not allow Venezuela to become a stronghold for Russian or Chinese influence. The deployment of such a powerful asset like the Gerald R. Ford sends a message that the U.S. is prepared to use its military capabilities to maintain its dominance in the Western Hemisphere. In the grand scheme of things, the U.S. Navy's buildup near Venezuela might not be about preparing for an immediate military conflict, but rather about maintaining leverage in an increasingly volatile region. The presence of the Gerald R. Ford and its accompanying strike group ensures that the U.S. has the power to respond to any developments in Venezuela or the broader Latin American region, whether those involve military threats, economic instability, or political unrest. By positioning itself in the Caribbean, the U.S. is demonstrating its commitment to protecting its interests and allies in the region. Ultimately, the deployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford near Venezuela serves as a reminder of the immense power the U.S. Navy can project, even in the most sensitive and contested regions. While the official explanation for the deployment focuses on counter-narcotics operations, the sheer scale of the force involved and the geopolitical context suggest that there may be a much larger strategy at play. Whether the U.S. is preparing for military action or simply positioning itself for future influence, the presence of such a formidable force in the Caribbean is a clear message that the U.S. remains the dominant military power in the Western Hemisphere. In conclusion, while the deployment of the USS Gerald R. Ford near Venezuela might be framed as a routine operation, it undoubtedly carries a broader geopolitical significance. The U.S. is sending a message that it is prepared to act if necessary, ensuring that its influence in Latin America remains unchallenged. As tensions rise, all eyes will be on the region to see how this powerful display of American naval force plays out.